Hello, government students. Today we're going to give a brief overview of the legislative branch of the state of Illinois' government. In this photograph here, we see the House chambers, the House of Representatives chambers in the Capitol building in Springfield, Illinois. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the Illinois legislative branch. We have a bicameral legislature in Illinois. Bicameral, two chambers, and of course the two chambers are the Senate and the House of Representatives. So let's look at the characteristics of each of these chambers, and we'll start with the Senate. First of all, in the Senate of Illinois, we have 59 members. A senator serves a legislative district. That's the name of the districts that are served by senators in Illinois. So with 59 senators, we have 59 legislative districts. So the state of Illinois is divided up into those legislative districts. Each legislative district should be approximately the same in population. It would be against the law, unconstitutional, to have certain legislative districts that might have 3 million people in them, and then others with just a couple of, tens of thousands. You have to have them be roughly equal in population. So therefore, the city of Chicago will be divided up into a whole lot of legislative districts that are very small geographically. And then downstate Illinois, you will have districts that are quite large geographically, but the population within them will be the same roughly as in the districts that are in the cities. Now, the term of office for the senators is a little bit confusing. Each senator will serve one 2-year term followed by 2 4-year terms. Now, here's how that works. The Senate will be divided into 3 different pieces. Okay, 1/3 of the senators in any given election will be serving a 2-year term, and the other 2/3 of the senators in any given election will be serving 4-year terms. Then when the next general election rolls around, the group that served a 2-year term before are now up for re-election, and one of those groups of senators that had a 4-year term, they're now in their next election going to have a 2-year term. And it alternates like that. And the purpose of this weird arrangement is that you will usually never have a situation where every senator is up for re-election at the same time. It does happen. It happens every 10 years. Every senator will be up for re-election at the same time. But in the general elections between years that end in a 0, you only have 1/3, at least 1/3 of the senators will not be up for re-election. The presiding officer of the Senate is called the Senate President, and we'll get into who that is, but he is the most powerful of the senators. He's their leader. And now let's go over to the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives in the state of Illinois is composed of 118 members. Notice the relationship between the number of members in the House and the number of members in the Senate. You have twice the number of representatives as you have senators. Each legislative district is split into 2 representative districts. So there are 2 representatives that serve the area that is served by a member of the Senate. Okay. So again, each legislative district is split in 2 to create 2 representative districts that will be served by members of the House of Representatives. Every representative serves a 2-year term. It's not like the Senate where it has that alternating aspect of 2-year and 4-year terms. The purpose of this is it's felt that the House of Representatives should be closer to the people. Most revenue type bills are going to be originating in the House of Representatives, so if you don't like your taxes, you have someone to blame, your member in the House. So they all serve 2-year terms. Every member of the House is up for re-election every 2 years. And the presiding officer of the House of Representatives is called the Speaker of the House. He is, after the governor, probably the most powerful person in the Illinois government. Okay, and here are the 2 leaders of our Senate. Our current Senate president is named Don Harmon. He's a Chicago area Democrat. And we had a new Speaker of the House named just really last year, actually, or a year and a half ago or so, Chris Welch. Chris Welch is the Speaker of the House, also a Chicago area Democrat. He replaced a man by the name of Mike Madigan. Mike Madigan had been the Speaker of the House longer than any other person in the entire United States had been the Speaker of any state legislative body. Madigan was there for something like 30 years or so as Speaker of the House. And it was kind of big news when he finally retired, maybe under a little bit of a cloud of corruption as well. He hasn't been charged with any kind of a crime, but there was a little bit of a cloud of possible misdeeds by Speaker Madigan. But it was time for him to retire anyway. He's about 80 years old. Here's a map that shows the legislative and representative districts. You can see here the red there is the legislative district that is served by Senator Steve Stottleman. That includes most of the city of Rockford as well as most of the Winnebago County suburbs of Rockford, but not all of them. Over here in this gray area is the legislative district that is served by Senator Dave Severson. And again, each of these legislative districts are split in two. It's hard to make it out in the red because it's so small. But you can see the boundary here in Severson's district where my cursor is that divides that district up into two representative districts. Some of you would also live in the district, I suspect, that's over here. I am not quite sure who that senator is, but a few of you might be in his area as well. That's western Winnebago County into Ogle County and Stevenson County. And you should be able to identify who your senator and representative are. I believe that was in an assignment you've already had a day or two ago. These district maps are revised every 10 years after the census. And of course, every year that ends in a 0, we have a new census that determines the population of the states and regions within a state. And you can see here the comparison between the 2000 census and the 2010 census. Of course, we are now in the year 2022 as I make this video. We have drawn, or that is the legislature has drawn new districts to reflect the 2020 census. Those districts have not yet been approved. So that's why I'm still showing the 2010 census districts. Those, I suspect the 2020 districts will be approved very soon, but they're not official yet. Once they become official, I of course will have to update this presentation. And with that, that's the end of our presentation. So make sure you know from this, the number of legislative districts, the number of representative districts. Make sure you know the term of office. Know the difference between a legislative district and a representative district, and you should know who the leaders of each chamber are. So with that, check Canvas, see if there's anything there that you need to be aware of, and we are done for the day on this presentation.